Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our English Learning for Beginners podcast. I'm Ava, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. Whether you're just starting your English journey or looking to brush up on the basics, you're in the right place. Today's episode is all about something you use every single day, numbers. That's right. We're diving into the world of numbers and counting. By the end of this episode, you'll not only know how to count in English, but you'll also learn how to use numbers in everyday situations. And joining me today is my wonderful co-host, Oliver. How are you, Oliver?
Hi, Ava. I'm doing great, and I'm really excited about today's topic. Numbers are everywhere, from telling the time to shopping to simply chatting with friends. Understanding and using numbers correctly is a fundamental skill in English, and we're going to make sure you master it today. Plus, we've got 10 new vocabulary words to introduce. So, stay tuned till the end, and we'll show you how to put those numbers to work in real-life situations.
Let's start with the basics, counting from 1 to 10. It might seem simple, but these are the building blocks for everything else you'll learn about numbers in English. Ready? Let's count together. Repeat after us.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Great job! Now that we've got the basics down, let's talk about why these numbers are so important. Numbers are like a universal language. They help us communicate quantities, prices, dates, and much more. Let's introduce our first vocabulary word for today, digit. Digit means any of the numerals from 0 to 9, especially when forming part of a number.
That's right, Ava. Digits are the individual numbers that make up all the larger numbers we use every day. For example, the number 23 is made up of 2 digits, 2 and 3. Let's practice with a few more examples. Can you identify the digits in the number 47? That's right, 4 and 7.
Now, let's talk about how we use these numbers in everyday situations. For example, when you're telling someone your phone number, you're using digits. But what if you're talking about money? That's where our next vocabulary word comes in, amount. Amount refers to the total number or quantity of something, often used in the context of money.
Exactly. When you go shopping, you might ask, how much does this cost? The answer will be a number that represents the amount of money you need to pay. Understanding numbers is key to handling money confidently, whether you're buying groceries, paying bills, or even just counting your change.
And speaking of counting, let's introduce another important concept, dozen. A dozen is a group of 12 items. For example, if you buy a dozen eggs, you're buying 12 eggs. This is a common way to talk about quantities in English. Dozen means a group or set of 12 items.
Let's practice using dozen in a sentence. If I say, I bought a dozen apples, how many apples do I have? That's right, 12. Simple, right? But let's not stop there. Numbers go beyond just counting. They help us measure things too. This brings us to our next vocabulary word, measure. Measure means to ascertain the size, amount, or degree of something using an instrument or device marked in standard units.
Measuring is something we do all the time. Whether you're cooking and need to measure ingredients, or you're buying fabric and need to know how much you need, numbers help you measure correctly. Let's try using it in a sentence. Please measure out 2 cups of flour. Here, the number tells us exactly how much flour we need.
That's a great example, Oliver. Now, let's talk about something really practical, telling the time. In English, we use numbers to tell the time, and it's important to know how to do it properly. For instance, if someone asks, what time is it? You might answer, it's 3:30. The numbers 3 and 30 tell you the hour and the minutes. Our next vocabulary word is quarter. Quarter means one of 4 equal parts, and in time, it refers to 15 minutes.
When telling time, we often use the word quarter. For example, it's 3:15 means it's 3:15, or it's 4:15 means it's 3:45. Understanding these terms will help you tell time like a native speaker.
Now that you are getting the hang of numbers, let's take it a step further and talk about percent. This word is often used when talking about discounts, interest rates, and statistics. Percentages tell us how much of something exists compared to the whole. Percent means 1 part in every 100.
For example, if a store is having a sale and everything is 20% off, that means the price of each item is reduced by 20 out of every 100 units of currency. Understanding percentages is important for shopping, banking, and even understanding news reports.
Percentages are everywhere. Now, let's talk about another number-related word that's super useful, dozen. We already mentioned that a dozen equals 12, but did you know that a baker's dozen is 13? It's an old tradition where bakers would give an extra item to avoid penalties for selling short. Baker's dozen means 13 items, traditionally given by bakers to ensure they weren't shortchanging their customers.
That's a fun fact, Oliver. Now, let's move on to something that helps us understand large quantities. Hundred. In English, hundred is a term we use often, whether we're talking about money, distances, or even people. For example, there are 100 students in the class. 100 means the number equivalent to the product of 10 and 10, 100.
Exactly, Ava. Numbers help us communicate both small and large quantities easily. Now, let's introduce another important number word, thousand. This is the next step up from hundred, and it's often used in business, travel, and large-scale measurements. Thousand means the number equivalent to the product of 110, 1,000.
When you hear someone say, "I've saved $1,000," they're talking about 1,000 units of currency. Understanding these larger numbers will help you navigate many aspects of life, from banking to budgeting.
And finally, let's talk about million. A million is a huge number, one followed by 6 zeros. It's used when talking about big things like populations, budgets, or distances in space. Million means the number equivalent to the product of 1,000 and 1,000, 1 million.
For example, the city has a population of over 1 million people. Knowing these big numbers will help you understand and participate in conversations about large-scale topics.
Wow, we've covered so much today. From counting to using numbers in everyday situations, to learning about digits, amounts, dozens, and even millions, this is your first step toward mastering English numbers. Remember, numbers are more than just figures. They're a way to understand and navigate the world around you.
Absolutely, Oliver. And don't worry if it feels like a lot. Practice makes perfect. Take your time, revisit these concepts, and soon enough, you'll be using numbers in English like a pro. And we'd love to hear from you. What's one new thing you learned today? Share it with us in the comments below.
And here's a fun challenge for you. Try using today's vocabulary words in your daily life. Maybe you'll measure something in the kitchen, count your steps, or figure out a discount at the store. The more you practice, the more confident you will become.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. Next time, we'll be exploring days of the week and months, another essential skill for your English journey. We're so excited to continue this journey with you.
Thanks for joining us today. Remember, every step you take brings you closer to mastering English. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Until then, happy counting!
Bye for now.